Hey everyone, it's Brian, aka Hopper here, and I just finished up a 3-night trip here in Acadia National Park. 3 days was not enough. I wish I had 2 weeks. It's a great place, and the video you're about to see is just a sampling of the amazing hikes and sites that are available here in our national parks. And our national parks should never be overlooked. They're something that's available to all of us. There's a small fee to get in, but it is well worth it. So go ahead and watch this video and you're gonna see some great things. And maybe, hey, if you're up here in the New England area, if you're in Maine, maybe you're just in Boston, take a trip up north just a little bit up to Maine to see the sights. But before we jump into the video, I'd like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to all of you who helped support my last fundraising campaign for World Central Kitchen. Together, we raised almost $2,100 to support World Central Kitchen's efforts to provide humanitarian aid for those in need, particularly in Ukraine, in Syria, Turkey, and around the world. Thank you very much. From my heart to yours, I thank you very much. In the eastern part of Acadia National Park is Schoodic. And in Schoodic, there's a place called Schoodic Head, which is supposed to have an amazing view. And then there's some other trails we're going to follow. Hopefully we'll end up down by the water. Alrighty, well, we reached Schoodic Head here at 442 feet. Let's check out the view. From this high point, you can normally see a lot of great things, but, well, I guess there's a reason why I heard foghorns in the background. Yeah, the view's not that good today, but normally it's supposed to be amazing. There's an overlook just to the northeast. Let's go check it out. Here is the overlook viewing platform, and, yep, lots of sea fog. You can actually see it rolling in. Well, looks like I picked a bad day to get a view, but, well, I'm not going to be here for just one day. Next up is the Anvil Trail. We're going to follow that south from here down to Schoodic Point, which is the southern point of this peninsula, and hopefully we'll get some better views from there. Somebody's trying to play tricks on us, thinking there's wildlife. Look at that bird. Looks really papery. We've arrived at Schoodic Point. This area has some of the most dramatic tide changes of 12 feet in the local area. And yes, there's finally a view that's much better than at Schoodic Head. All right, finally got to my campsite here. Not a bad little setup. You do have to make reservations. Campsites are available, and actually you're only allowed to use campsites here or at hotels that are outside of the park. There's no backcountry camping allowed, and these campsites are $30 per night, which really is much better price-wise than to use the hotels, and it gets a little closer to nature, which is always good. But yeah, $30 a night, not bad. Hey, good morning. Well, it is 04:50 in the morning, and we're here at the coastline, and unfortunately, this low-level sea fog is preventing a view of the sunrise, which should be directly in front of us. Oh well. Well, after a hearty breakfast, now we're going to do some real hiking. We're going to hike 3.8 miles one way to the summit of Cadillac Mountain. It's supposed to be amazing, great hike. I'm not really counting on views with the weather, but we'll see. There are a couple different routes to the summit of Cadillac Mountain, but we'll be taking the South Ridge Trail, so we'll be going this way. Other than chipmunks and birds, I haven't seen any other animals, but there are definitely larger animals here. Here at 7 o'clock in the morning, the sun is finally up and sort of visible through the clouds. Well, the sun is finally burning off this cloud layer, and we got some blue skies ahead. Looking forward to the view. We have arrived at the summit at 1,527 feet. Now, let's check out the overlook. Upon reaching the overlook, we've got a vast view here. And in fact, you can even see part of the Gulf of Maine right there with that inlet. Normally, you have a much better view, but the clouds aren't really allowing it as much as we want to. This place, while we call it Cadillac Mountain, is actually called Wapuwak by the Wapanaki tribe, and it's sacred to them. And sacred, yes. Special, absolutely. And in fact, at this point right here, many years ago, one of my best friends brought his girlfriend at sunrise and proposed to her. And 17 years later, they're still married. So yeah, I would say it's definitely special. And from this point right here, during parts of the year, this is the first place on the continent that you can actually see the sunrise. So yeah, it's definitely special. If you don't want to hike, you can actually drive to this summit. It's the only summit you can drive to, but I didn't come to drive. I came to hike. Now that we're on the hike down and the clouds are burning off, you can actually see the islands out there. Pretty cool. Behind me may not seem like much of a trail, but this is the Bar Island Trail, and that's Bar Island behind me. Right now it's low tide, but at high tide, today, the high tide difference will be 12 feet, and only at low tide can you cross. So I'm gonna go do this trail right now, take a walk over to Bar Island and check it out. But if you get lost, you gotta wait 9 hours until the water's low enough to cross again. This is exactly low tide, but it's kind of hard to imagine that in 12 hours from now, I would need my scuba gear to be standing right here. Oh no, the tide is coming in! Just kidding, just a little tidal pool. The Bar Island Trail isn't just crossing the bay at low tide, which is pretty exciting, but there's also a trail on the other side, so we're gonna hike it and see where it goes. And we have arrived at the summit, if you want to call that a summit, but the views are supposed to be a little bit better right down over there. Just down and to the right from the summit, the views are definitely better, and you can still see that the sandbar is still exposed, but I better get back unless I want to swim. Okay, I'm making it back with plenty of time to spare. Sounds like the guideline of 90 minutes on both sides of the low tide point are conservative, but it's better to be safe than sorry. You can get a good seafood dinner and lobster in Bar Harbor, or as they call it, Bahaba, but you're also going to pay tourist prices. If you go to the southwest part of the peninsula, there's a restaurant called Seafood Catch, and it's supposed to have really good seafood, just as good, if not better, than in Bahaba, but at a much more non-touristy price. So I'm going to check it out because I'm already getting sick of camp food, and you know me, I love seafood. I know I got you all hyped up on lobster, but I haven't had mussels in a long time, and they looked really good. But I am a hiker, so you know I had to get a shrimp roll too, and a locally brewed beer. Oh yeah. The Bass Harbor Headlight Station was built in 1858, located on the southwest portion of the island. It guides ships with a light that shines out to 13 miles into the bay. Behind me is Jordan Pond. It's a local municipal water supply, so they don't let you wade or swim in it, but you can hike around it, and for some reason they allow boats in there, but only up to 10 horsepower. But there's supposed to be a great hiking trail around it, so I'm going to go check that out. And if you don't want to hike to get here and you just want to admire it, there is a parking lot about 30 meters away. About a half mile up the trail is something called Bubble Rock. So these trail runners are checking it out, so I'm gonna too. Okay, sure, it's only a half mile, but it's straight up. Okay, if you're hiking around Jordan Pond, definitely do this hike. The views are absolutely amazing. Well, looky there, there's actually a boat out there with 2 fishermen and a 10 horsepower motor. We are back to the boat launch area here. And yeah, I think it was about 2.5 miles around. Great hike, definitely recommend. Hey, good evening. Well, I'm here at my campsite. It's not too bad of a place. Just made dinner. Of course, I made camp food, which is some Knorr pasta, actually Knorr rice side, mushroom flavor, some bumblebee tuna, applewood smoked, and of course, I dropped in a little bit of real bacon bits. So bacon goes with everything. But for now, good night. Hey, good morning. You know, one of the good things about being on the trail and in the backcountry is you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want. Breakfast today will be stroganoff, pulled pork, and bacon bits. Yes! Okay, now that we're done resting and eating, it's time to get back on trail. Here in the Tarn area, the Tarn, which is a lake of some sort, which we'll see here shortly, there's a whole network of trails, including one that goes up to Door Mountain, which we spoke about earlier. So let's begin that trek. And no sooner than expected, but there's the Tarn. It's basically a big pond or lake. But yeah, but the mountain's this way. Didn't take long to gain some altitude. There's the Tarn down there. Got a bit of a view. The weather is so much better today, but hopefully the clearing is even better at the top and we can see even more. You may have noticed cairns like this, and there's another one up here. These were created in the early 1900s all around Acadia by Waldron Bates. He created these in order to help guide hikers, but also to protect the fauna, because if hikers get off trail, they trample protected fauna. All right, we are approaching another crossroads, or cross trails, I guess it would be. This is about the fourth one we've seen. It tells us Door South Ridge Trail. Go in this way. We have reached the summit of Door Mountain. As you can tell, I'm not the only one up here. From here at 1,270 feet, you can actually see, yep, do you recognize that? That's Cadillac Mountain that we saw the other day, but the view is so much better when the weather actually cooperates. Check that out. Whoa. On the way down, I can continue back down the way I came up, or there's another crossroads, and ladder trail is this way. So with the intersection of different trails, you have different options, so I'm going to make this into a loop. So far on the trail, it's been basically granite steps, but it looks like we've actually got our first ladder. After coming down these stairs, you get to go through this really narrow, I mean that's really narrow to get in there, but oh, looks like I should have eaten a smaller breakfast. Whew, just barely fit. But we're back to granite steps, which it should be all the way down to the Tarn. And we reach another intersection. All right, so we just came down the ladder trail from Door Mountain, but we're gonna head north and hopefully get a great view of the Tarn. Well, who in tarnations put a tarn right here? Well, whoever it was, I'm glad they did. This is absolutely breathtaking. The trail actually follows the western side of the Tarn, so you have great views along the way, and if you need water, I guess you could treat it and drink it. Well, we made it back to the trailhead, but, well, after grabbing a quick banana, because I like potassium and it's good for recovery of the muscles, I'm going to be taking the Beechcroft Trail, which is just across the street over there, and try to get to the summit of Champlain Mountain. Partway up, you get a great view of the Tarn, Door Mountain, and just a beautiful panoramic. Here we get our first view of Champlain Mountain. We still got a ways to go, though. We have reached the summit of Champlain Mountain at 1,058 feet. You can see Door Mountain still, but the best view is here to the east. We can look out over the bay. And this completes the hike up to Champlain Mountain. Now let's go check out something scenic, but in a different way. Well, you know it was going to be another trail. And this trail is called Great Head Trail. It's supposed to be a great scenic view once you get to the end. One of the really great things about Acadia is that all the hikes are essentially day hikes. So you don't have to carry large amounts of food and find a campsite. Nope, you can actually bring fresh fruit and enjoy it. And that's something on a through hike that we can't really do because fresh fruit is just so heavy when you're carrying a week, 10 days worth of food. It's just not an option unless you're like Hercules. But then, of course, if you're Hercules, then you need even more calories. So, no, I don't think he could even do it. The Great Head Trail gives us access to the sea as it's really close to sea level, and the views are absolutely outstanding. While the head is the high point, getting closer to the ledge is even more exciting. You might even be able to do a little cliff diving from here if you are so inclined. The trail to Great Head can be an out and back, or you can do a loop. So I'm going to do the loop because I'm feeling a little bit loopy. Just around the corner on the cliffs, there are rock climbing opportunities with bolts already preset. Locals come here to climb, as well as tourists who can hire a guide in the Bar Harbor. If for some reason you like to swim in very cold water, there is a beach down there just west of Great Head. And as you notice here in the video, no one's actually in the water. It's freezing. Aw, oh, come on now. Did you really think I wasn't going to come down by the water? For a great hike with minimal altitude change and great coastal views, come to the southwest corner of the peninsula where you will find Great Head. Just a short distance southwest along the coastline from Great Head is Thunder Hole. It's this gap between the rocks that at about 2 hours prior to high tide, the waves will come in, create this suction, and it will result in an explosion of water upward. It's supposed to be pretty dramatic, and of course, all those tourists you see out there on the railings, yep, they would get absolutely soaked. It's about 1 hour after high tide right now, so we missed it. But yeah, come on out if you want to see it. Just make sure the timing's right. Well, it was an exciting day, but the day's pretty much wrapped up, except I need to get some dinner. Tonight we're going to have Knorr rice side cheddar broccoli, bumblebee spicy Thai chili, and of course, the last of my bacon bits. Mmm, yummy. You know you want some. Hey, good morning. Well, today we're going to save the best for last. Beehive Trail is one of the most popular and busy trails throughout the entire park. So if you want to do it, make sure you get here early in the morning or late in the evening. So, all right, let's hike on. When you see a sign like this, you know the trail's got to be fun. This trail follows a nearly vertical route with exposed cliffs that require climbing on iron rungs. Cool. Just like the prime rate, it's going up, 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 up. I'm in tatas.
They're probably far enough ahead. It's probably fine. Yeah, really good second.
We are reaching the summit here at a blistering nose bleeding 520 feet. And I'm not the first one up here. Well, that was fun. It was a little via ferrata-ish, and yeah, it was good. You know, using your hands, climbing the mountain. But there's a trail right now going over to another peak, so I don't have to actually get back to the car and relocate. So I'm gonna go check out Gorham Mountain. It's at 524 feet, so there shouldn't be too much altitude change since it's only 4 feet higher than Beehive. But yeah, let's go. We could always go that way, but this way takes us to Gorham Mountain. I know I said the Beehive was going to be the last trail, the last hike, but I just don't want to leave this place yet. I've really enjoyed my time here, and if I have the opportunity to get one more little mountain peak or one more little trail, you know I'm going to do it. Okay, we just came from down this way, a little wet, but there's a sign. This will get us back to the car, and this will get us up to the summit. And we have arrived at Gorham Mountain at the summit at 524 feet. Make sure I'm at the right place. Ooh, it says 525, even better. All right, let's check out this view. Oh yeah, definitely worth it. Well, unfortunately, this is going to wrap up our time here in Maine's amazing Acadia National Park. Great national park if you're out here in New England. It rivals a lot of the great parks we have out in the West. I was only here 3 nights, got in some great hiking, saw some great sights. I wish I had another 2 weeks to spend because it's great. Definitely recommend this park, but I've got to get ready because I've got a long through hike coming up next real soon. So hike on!